We got 4 minutes. Jason, what's up? You're in South Carolina. You're on with Jenna and Phil. It says that you want to know how to deal with morality.
Yeah, I guess I'm a theist that leans atheist.
Ooh, that's interesting. What does that mean?
That's a good question.
I guess it means that there's a lot of arguments on both sides of the fence. And I don't think anybody, well, certainly we haven't proven that God exists. We haven't proven that God doesn't exist. And
Do you think
I'm with you
atheism,
so far.
I think you might have the wrong definition of atheism.
Oh, let's hear him out. Go ahead.
Well, I don't believe in God, but
You're an atheist.
there's a lot about a godless universe that gives me a lot of pause, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to call is the whole issue of morality. Because if there isn't an arbitrator above human beings, then any one human being is just as can rightfully define their morality. As much as any other human being or as much as any group of human beings.
You are correct. And I do that myself. And I do that according to my society around me, my community. We define as humans the way that we act and the way that we have this agreement with each other on how to be civil and help each other when we can. And we have these instincts that have gotten us this far because of helping each other. And so it's good for us. Does that make sense?
Well, it does, but it seems to me that there should be something a little more visceral, a little more intrinsic. In other words, I agree that that there are benefits to certain behaviors, especially for a social animal, and those may have morphed into what we call now morality, in air quotes. Mm-hmm. But it seems to me that there should be something that, if something is wrong, like for example, let's take just an extreme example, the Holocaust in Germany, right? The killing of millions of people because of who they are or what they believe or whatever. We define that as wrong. And on the one hand, if we go with the atheist model and say, well, we're defining it as wrong, but we're defining it as wrong because that's our society says it's wrong.
All right, hold on. The atheist model. Hold on. Pause. The atheist model says nothing about morality.
There is no atheist model.
The atheist model says, you think there's a God and I don't believe you.
That's it.
That's all. Now, when we come to morality, then we have to talk on an individual level. And so I would say, for me, I'm a humanist. So the way that we as humans define humanism, that's how I define morality. I promote human well-being and happiness. And so do you think that humans are any more significant than ants? I'm going to go with your ant thing here. Do you think that humans are any more significant than ants?
If there is no God, then no. Humans are no more significant than ants.
But if there is?
If there is a God, and if that God takes interest in human beings, then whatever interest that God invests in human beings is whatever significance human beings have.
Okay, so have you ever watched ants interact?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen if an ant dies, all of the other ants come back and rescue it?
No, they don't.
They take the body back to their anthill. The bodies, if there's more than one. They clean it up and they bring their bodies back. Why would they do that if there's no God telling them to do that?
Maybe God does.
He said that humans are more significant. So why would the ants be so keen on their own survival?
Well, the ants would be doing that because it has some benefit to survival.
Okay.
Maybe humans.
Maybe I'm using a logical fallacy here. I'm wondering if anybody can find it, if there is one. But anyway. Do you understand what I mean about morality comes from us?
Sure, but if morality does come from us, in other words, when I say the atheist model, what I mean is if there is no God, then humans are the arbiter of morality.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
You got it.
If humans are the arbiter of morality, then if Group A says the Holocaust was wrong, and Group B says the Holocaust was right. The only means that we have of defining, in the end, which way we're going to go is violence.
You could have a debate, I guess.
Look at our history.
Yeah, we do have some violence in our history.
Right. And so
because we all disagree.
Right. And so if there is no God, then if the Nazis had won, the statement, the killing of all these Jews was a moral and good thing to do, would be accepted as truth.
Maybe, but we don't live in that world, so we can't say what would be true.
And living in that world is why when we see deeply dark, perverse moral actions going on, we have an obligation as humans to go fucking stop it. If a God is in charge...
But that's instinctual and based off of our evolution.
Because if we all were okay with killing each other, there would be no humans left.
Have you ever seen The Man in the High Castle?
No.
That's fun.
I don't watch
that is a series on Amazon that is basically, it's a dystopian story about if the Nazis had won. What would it be like in I think the 60s it's set in. And so it's interesting. Maybe go check that out and consider the possibility of if they had won, then that would affect our morality because we, again, as humans decide. And no matter what, whether the overall majority of humanity agrees or disagrees, each individual person will still agree or disagree on their own individual level and attempt to influence the world.
And a funny thing is that if the Nazis won and that changed our overall moral system, that would be proof God doesn't exist.
Well, maybe.
Or doesn't control our morals.
I don't. Oh yeah, exactly.
But we all agreed in the statement that if there is no God, whatever humans define as right is right.
I think so.
I think that is a little bit black and white for me.
Yeah. It's clearly black and white. But, the question is, how do we survive and how do we have morals without a God? How do you do it?
How do I? Well,
because you're in a world without a God, so how do you do it?
I just go about my daily business. I'm not looking to hurt anybody.
Okay.
Exactly.
There you go.
So you determine in the end what is morally correct for you.
Right.
And it depends on whether or not you're hurting anybody or offending anybody, right? So you determine what's moral.
Okay. So I guess in the end, then I just wanted, because I'm looking at atheism. I'm collecting information right now.
Right.
And y'all are. I've watched your show for a while. You guys are pretty in deep with atheism as a.
I'd almost want to ask you to stop saying atheism. Mm-hmm. I am an atheist. Are you an atheist? Mm-hmm. Okay. All that tells you about us is we are not convinced in any one or more deities.
That does not tell you anything else about us.
I can be ethical. I can be unethical. I can lie. I can cheat. I can steal. I can be a wonderful person.
Right.
There is no atheism.
Presumably, you have thought about these issues of morality and such within the framework of
not really. No. The only reason I'm thinking about it now is because you're asking me.
Oh.
I don't think of what would life be like without a God. I'm pretty darn sure there's no God, and no one's given me any evidence to the contrary. I do what you just said. I just live my life, man.
Yeah, I guess basically what I'm saying is it something inside of me says that the statement X is right or X is wrong should exist even if human beings or no other sentient creature existed in the universe.
Yeah,
that is an interesting philosophical question.
And I see how do you get evidence even for that?
You should probably chat with some people and, again, some philosophical groups on Discord, on Facebook. There are all kinds of people you can talk to, but I don't think that you can come to a black and white answer, and I definitely don't think we're going to come to a black and white answer on this show. But speaking of ending the show...
We're out of time, Jason.
We are out of time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jason. It was a pleasure.